Well, if you're starting to feel anxious and you're not sure why, it may be that the end of February is looming, and that means RRSPs. Amanda Lang's here to help you sort out whether you need to stress.
Despite all of the hype and advertising about needing an RRSP if you want to retire comfortably, now the banks may not tell you this, but you may not need one. Let's connect the dots.
Saving for RRSPs isn't easy.
You've heard the pitch, but what is it? A registered retirement savings plan is a tax deferral system. You pay income tax when you take it out on retirement. So who really needs an RRSP? Not as many people as you might think. A third of working Canadians have a pension plan already and may not need additional savings in the form of an RRSP. 85% of public sector workers have defined benefit pensions, and about 15% of private sector workers have pensions. They may be covered without additional savings. Another 20% of Canadians simply don't make enough for an RRSP to make sense, and who may make as much via their Canada pension plan as they do while working. That's about half the workforce who may not need to worry about RRSPs at all. Okay, so you're in the remaining 50%. There are still some scenarios that may mean an RRSP isn't for you. One of them is your income and how it might grow. If it's likely to climb in the years ahead, you may be better off waiting to invest in an RRSP to get the biggest bang out of the tax credit later when you're in a higher tax bracket. And an RRSP might not be for you if you're already in a high tax bracket and likely to remain there after you retire. If you're pretty wealthy, in other words. Then it's just a question of paying tax now or paying it later. Of course, for some, an RRSP is exactly right.
People who will have the most important challenge will be the people who are middle income earners who aren't in any corporate pension plan, so aren't in a defined benefit pension plan or a good defined contribution pension plan. So that is a pretty large group of people.
And there are a couple of things that'll help you make a plan. First, get a realistic view of when you'll retire. A recent average age was 61. Experts say it could now rise as high as 71. Second, you may not need as much money as you think. A lot of us have bought the message that we need 70% of our pre-retirement income to retire, but some experts say it could be as low as 50% by the time the mortgage is paid off and the kids are grown up.
Those two changes make a big difference in the plan and maybe take some stress out of the challenge.
So in the midst of all of the hype around RRSPs, experts agree it is a good reminder to make sure you know your plan for the future, but that may not mean you need to be stressed out about your RRSP at all.
You know, for those who are relying on their CPP, the Canada Pension Plan, there was some news on that front today.
Yeah, one of the big bank CEOs was musing about the potential for changing it. He said, perhaps we should make it above our mandatory investment in the CPP that allows us to save, a voluntary plan where we could increase what we save through the CPP. The federal government said today they've looked at that. It's not going to happen anytime soon. But it's a reminder that a lot of people are thinking and concerned about how much we're saving, or more importantly, how much we're not.
All right. Thanks, Amanda.
Thanks.
Amanda Lang.